everybody in the Performance Wellness online class. I'd like to check in with you and with our live studio group here about how your breathing practices are going, and just to make sure that you're able to keep a consistent practice with particularly the diaphragmatic breathing, the 2-to-1 breathing, the alternate nostril, the Brahmari exercise. So, how's it going for everybody?
Good. I do some breathing first thing when I wake up before I get out of bed.
Oh, that's excellent.
And yeah, it's a great way to just sort of ease into the day.
Wonderful. Great.
I've had a few challenges. I have problems with my sinuses, so the alternate nostril breathing is a little difficult because one nostril is, during the wintertime, it's always been like that. I keep my apartment humidified, but unfortunately, most of the environment I spend most of my time in during the day is not humidified, and my nasal passages are dry, and in the morning, painful.
Yes.
You know, it kind of hurts.
Right. How about you? Do you ever experience problems with your sinuses related to your breathing practice?
I don't know if it's sinuses, but definitely it seems like even though I do the alternate nostril, it always seems like one is much more blocked up than the other.
Okay. All right. So there is a solution, particularly for having a nostril or both nostrils being clogged. And that is something that obviously is related to the weather, it's related to your own allergies and things like that. So there is something that has come out of the yoga tradition, which is called the Neti Pot, and it's a way of irrigating your nostrils so that you're keeping your sinuses clear. And the more you practice this nasal irrigation or the Neti Pot, which I have right here, the more your nostrils will tend to stay open and stay manageable so that your breath is not impeded by sinus problems. So this is the Neti Pot. It looks like a little teapot, and the way it works is that you fill it with lukewarm water that is similar to the consistency of your tears, so that it's not a foreign substance to the body. And then you put a little bit of sea salt or kosher salt in the water, not iodized salt because that can be irritating to your nasal passages. And you put just a pinch of salt in the lukewarm water, you mix it up with your finger or a little spoon, and then you literally pour it in through one nostril, it goes up into the sinuses, and it literally pours out the other nostril. Yeah, it's quite a concept. A little eerie for some people because you're getting water in your nose. And for some people that kind of is very scary. I think you had said something about that.
Yeah, well, having had a near drowning experience, just the thought of inducing water into my nasal passages, even when I do nose drops, that kind of like...
Oh, absolutely.
It brings it back.
It really does, because the body records those memories in your cellular memory. So yeah, but as I will show you, as I demonstrate, you will not drown from doing the Neti Pot. That's for sure. Because the water, it goes through your nostrils. You're not breathing through your nose, but you're breathing through your mouth. And that is one thing that will always be accessible to you when you're doing the Neti Pot. So I am going to put a little bit of salt in here. Oops, I think. Okay. Just a tiny bit, really. Just like a pinch. And just mix it up. And I'm going to use this wonderful plastic thing to catch the water. And here I go. I just put it in one nostril. And there it goes out the other one. I can see you'd be surprised to see what comes out. I'm not going to show you, of course, because you don't want to see what's in there, because I live in New York City. It feels so good. You know, often we don't really smell the environment because our sinuses are clogged. And after doing the Neti Pot, you really, really can smell the roses, as they say. And, of course, the pollution in New York, unfortunately, makes you want to move. So there's the other one. Ah, la 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 la, la 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 la, I'm not drowning. So much better. And those of you that are performers, you actually look better after doing the Neti Pot because your eyes brighten, your face brightens. Oh, yuck. There is stuff in there. And your prefrontal cortex, I keep talking about this in this class, the part of your mind that is really a planning powerhouse, discrimination, really gives you power to feel like you have control over your life. That part of the brain gets stimulated, believe it or not, by this Neti Pot because it goes right here where a lot of our sinuses are kind of filling up and making us feel heavy. So, any questions about this?
Do you use the whole pot for each nostril or half and half?
You know, I manage really well on just one full pot, half for each nostril. If this is new for you and you have never done nasal irrigation before, you might want to really use one whole pot for each nostril. And until you start getting to the point where as you blow your nose, not too much is coming out anymore. And then just do as maintenance, do it once a day. You do it in the morning, you can do it before going to bed, sort of like brushing your teeth. You want to get into the habit.
Where do you buy a Neti Pot?
Oh, good question. I've found these Neti Pots in most health food stores, Whole Foods, and let's see, all the other local health food stores should have the Neti Pot. You can also get it online. The Himalayan Institute was the originator.
How's it spelled?
Himalayan.
How is it
Oh,
spelled?
the Neti Pot.
N-
N-I-T-I. Neti Pot. Right. And they're really inexpensive. This one's plastic, so you can, throw it at the ceiling if you get frustrated and it won't break. But they have ceramic ones as well, and they have ones that are very beautiful. You can display it in your bathroom. People will go, ooh, and look at that. What is that? So it's a wonderful thing to have as part of your daily cleansing routine.
Do you have to use special water, like purified water, or?
You know, I don't. I think that it might be better to use distilled water or spring water. But as far as I've been using this as a New Yorker, I've used tap water and I've had great results. So I think maybe if you're living in a town that has hard water with a lot of chemicals in it, in that case you might want to use distilled water or spring water. It must be a little bit warmed up though, so that you would have to heat it up. But your tap water is a lot easier. You can just get the temperature you require without having to heat the water. Okay, well I hope that you all go out and get your Neti Pot, give it a try. If it's scary, have someone there with you, just for moral support, because it is a little weird to put water through your nose. But after you'll feel the results from the first time, you will really want to do it again and again. So, good luck, and we will be in touch with you through our share, and we'd love to hear your stories.